2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't know number 3. Cool. Let's wait a while. Are there a lot of people there outside still? Okay, cool. Give me a signal if there's a lot of people outside. Do a dance. I don't. I'm an idiot. I will have it soon. All right. Looking like we have some people back. Tummies are full. Everybody is tired. We have a guy on stage calling us idiots. Or how did it go? Good start.
Actually, Mike's fault, but I will explain it over some drinks maybe later. So.
Oh, he will get some drinks later. That will help. So, let us welcome Glenn on stage by clapping. Thank you.
Thank you. Receiving applause before a session is always nice to start. I hope everybody had a great lunch. People are still coming in, so let's hope they get everything out of this session. So before we start, you're probably wondering, so why is this Belgian guy wearing a Azure shirt? So, oh, clicker not working, that's a great start. So I'm happy to announce that as from today, Azure is expanding to Belgium. I'm happy to work with these crazy guys to make the internationalization of Azure a success. Really looking forward to work with these guys to build awesome Azure stuff. So for people who don't know me, I'm Glenn. So as already said, I'm the founder of Azure Belgium. I'm an Azure MVP. I'm also part of the Azure user group in Belgium. Feel free to reach out. I now have a very cool Azure address, so you can drop me any questions you want. I will be happy to help you out. So Azure has been doing Azure since 2011, 100%. I'm very lucky to be surrounded by an awesome group of experts. Everyone in the crew is an expert in their business, so it's really awesome to join them. Once again, I'm very honored to do that. So we also have lots of logos from Microsoft, which is always cool. So let's talk a bit on IoT. So in the title there was rabbits, so I had to do something with rabbits. So the most important decision important decision a company has to make when building an IoT platform is choosing between implementing a software as a service solution or building your own solution with PaaS services, basically allowing you to have full control over the solution that you're building. When you're doing SaaS, you give away a bit of that control in favor of getting started more quickly. So it's a decision that most companies have to take very early in the process, and it's also one of the most important, or the decision with the most of the impact. Next to that, having an idea on what business value you're trying to get from your IoT solution or from your cloud platform in general is also a major part of that initial decision making. So I've been involved in quite some IoT projects that start off with the R&D department. You build up a proof of concept from a couple of days, and then they have to start building that business case and need to defend that business case to the upper management. So that's basically bottom-up driven, but IoT really needs to be implemented strategically inside the company. So everyone in the company needs to be behind that decision of starting an IoT project, and it has to really be lived throughout the entire company to make that IoT solution a success. So let's quickly run over the offerings of Microsoft regarding IoT. So the title chosen here is a trip down the rabbit hole, which basically means there's a lot of offerings. You can use them for different purposes, and it's sometimes not easy to choose between them. So during this session, I will guide you through these services, see what service you can use in what case, and what you can leverage from what service in what scenarios. So first of all, there's the Azure IoT solutions. So these sail under the software as a service flag. So there's IoT Central. So has anybody ever worked with IoT Central? Knows what IoT Central is? Okay, great. I have a demo later on. So then you, of course, have the IoT accelerators, which are basically just your, let us say, reference implementations of Microsoft. These are fully open source, built on microservices. And what you can do there is pretty neat. So you can cherry pick pieces of that and implement them in your own solutions. Of course, then you also have connected field services. The most important area, or that we see, is the PaaS services regarding IoT. Of course, you have IoT Hub, which is your main entry point for all your IoT solutions in Azure. Then you have other services that leverage that data coming in, streaming analytics, Cosmos DB, time series insights, and device provisioning service. But I will come back to most of these services later during this talk. And then, of course, there's a whole edge support, which is really booming these days. There's IoT Edge, and most of the Azure services are starting to come to the edge. Martin, not the other Martin, will talk about IoT Edge tomorrow after lunch-ish. So all of these services are backed up or are supported by Azure Security Center for IoT. I believe this is still partially in preview. So what this does is this will analyze how you're using the IoT services of Azure, and then potentially discover any breaches onto your devices or anything else. I will show them later on. So there's also a whole other area that's not on the SaaS or PaaS level, but it's really all about the devices. It's Azure Sphere, Windows IoT, and edge devices that Microsoft is supporting. I will not go into details of that, because that will lead us too far. But what I do wanted to mention is Microsoft has put out a white paper, which they identified the 7 properties of a highly secure device. 7 properties of how a device should be configured or programmed to be highly secured according to the standards. So how does it do error reporting? How is your device security, and so on. So there's a very interesting white paper. You can find this here. I believe slides will be shared afterwards, so you can download it then. If you want, you can take a picture or not. I will come back to this later if needed. So let's talk a bit about Azure IoT solutions. So it's the software as a service offerings of Microsoft, where you take in something that is pre-built and do some modification. It allows you to start very quickly, but you give away some of that control. So before implementing the software as a service, it's important to think about certain things. So keep in mind that when buying or implementing a software as a service, that offering should be extensible. So an offering will never cover 100% of your business needs, of your requirements, so you need to have some extensibility points. For example, you need to have APIs to interact with. You need to be able to export your data, or in worst case, even allow to access your own data. Also, as already mentioned, look at the offering. In what extent does this offering cover your business case, and how much of that business case do you need to implement yourself? And of course, the roadmap, is this product moving fast, or is it really slow? And to what extent can you influence that own roadmap? So these are all important things to consider. So, first of all, let's talk a bit about IoT solution accelerators. There's currently 3 or 4 offerings. So there's the remote monitoring, predictive maintenance, connected factory, and device simulator offering. These are open source reference implementations of Microsoft that are available on, let me hold that. These are available on GitHub. You can download them, you can deploy them to your environment, and basically start tweaking them around to build your own solution if necessary. So how is the main concept of that IoT solution accelerators? They all work the same way. So you have your devices. These are mostly done through C# simulators, but of course you can configure and connect your own devices. You have your ingestion points, IoT hub, some PaaS services, and then you have your microservices that are doing the processing of the data. And then there's Logic App that Rick will tell you all about tomorrow that will integrate with backend systems and processes. So let's take a closer look at the remote monitoring solution. It's been built, it's been set up the same thing like the reference architecture. So on the left-hand side, you have your simulators. It provides device connectivity. Then in the middle tier, you have your microservices processing, and then you have your presentation layer. So what is interesting in the remote monitoring solution, it has a built-in rule engine. So, and I've been involved in quite some IoT projects, and every project wants to have some sort of rule engine. So what you can do, because the remote monitoring solution is open source, you can go to GitHub and take the pieces that are important for you as a rule engine. So you can take that piece of software, deploy it in your own solution, and then use it accordingly. So I took some time to prepare a demo. So the setup is very simple. So I have created an IoT hub. What I did is I took the Stream Analytics query that is open source on GitHub. I deployed it into my own solution. What it does is it reads a set of pre-configured rules from blob storage, and then it outputs the alerts to blob storage, but I changed that a bit. I will output the alerts to a service bus. I will have a Logic App listening on that and posting alerts to Slack. So let me walk you through that demo. So let me first of all, yeah, there was a polar bear. I will come back to that one. So let me first of all show you the IoT solution accelerator. So if you go to azure-iot-solutions.com/accelerators, you log in, you have the opportunity to deploy one of those solution accelerators. So for the remote monitoring, if we click on that, you can, I think there's even a small demo here. There's an interactive demo that not, okay. So begin demo. As you can see, you can click it through, see how that demo looks like, and then basically take it from there. So let's get back to that demo I was talking about. So I will start up a simulator. So I have configured the rule engine to trigger any alert when the temperature is over 20 and the humidity is over 60. So that should be, yes, thank you. So as you can see, I'm already receiving alerts inside my Slack. So I'm receiving notifications. And if I open that Slack window, you will see here that there's some alert received from that simulator. So to show you how that works, as already said, very simple. I have configured an IoT hub. Let me zoom in a bit. Is this visible in the back? Okay. So I've created an IoT hub. I have a device there, just very simple. What I did, I took the connection string, used that in my simulator. Then I have streaming analytics jobs configured that has one as an input directly connected to the IoT hub, and then it's reading the rules from blob storage. So if I can show you the rules. So these rules are configured as they are in the open source repository. What I did is only create my own rules and added them to this JSON file. So as you can see, it's not super pretty, but it does the job. As you can see, I'm checking the aggregates of the temperature if it's larger than 20 or than 60. What is very nice and cool, by default, it allows you to define some aggregation windows. So there's instant. So when this rule triggers, it will immediately fire an alert. Then by default, you also have a sliding window of 5 minutes and then of 10 minutes. So this is all taken from GitHub, deployed in my own solution, did some tweaking, and then basically you have a mini rule engine. What can be done better? For example, you can take this JSON file, because that's not super user-friendly. You can put that in a database, create an API on top of that, and so let users create their own rules. So, but it's doing the job. So back to the slides. The next thing I want to talk about is IoT Central. IoT Central is the software as a service solution from Microsoft that is receiving more and more traction within Microsoft as your go-to service for IoT. There has been a lot of investments in this product, and it will receive a lot of investments in the future. It has possibility to connect your devices. They recently made it possible for you to connect edge devices. It has ingestion, command and control. It has rules and actions on data. You can have role-based access control. And what is very nice, recently they also added templating, white labeling, multi-tenancy, and more investments have been made to make this product extensible. As already mentioned, having extensibility in your software as a service implementation or inside your software as a service program is very important. For example, I believe until a year ago, you were not even able to get your own data from IoT Central. So that was really ridiculous, if I can say that. So how does IoT Central work? It's of course built on the Azure infrastructure. It has a UI, and it's using security, role-based access control built in from the ground. So let me show you IoT Central, and now the tricky part will start because I'm working with devices here. So let's pray that these demos go well. So if you go to apps.iotcentral.com, you log in, and you will be able to see all your apps that you have configured for IoT Central. So if you want, if you go to My Apps, you can create a new application. And what has been nice is they recently added some templates in there, which allows you, again, to start much quicker. They have solutions for retail, energy, government, and healthcare. So maybe let's do something for energy. So smart meter monitoring. So you can basically go into IoT Central and start creating that application from the start. So let me just show you how easy it is. So I'm just filled in my Azure subscription, give it a really awesome name, and then create. So this will now provision my application. It will take 2 or 3 seconds before that application is created, and then basically I can jump into IoT Central and start building that IoT solution from the ground up. So it's taking a lot more than 2 seconds, so it took 10. So basically now you're inside your own application, and you can start tweaking around with this. So, and if we would wait for a couple of minutes, you would see that that these values would start refreshing. You would see simulated data coming in to show you the value of that application. So let's go back to the apps. If all goes well, I should have an Igloo app here. Yes. Let's click it. So, tricky part. Say hi. Not yet. So I have here an MX chip. I hope this is visible. So this is sending data towards my IoT Central application. So this was created very simply out of the box. So if let me just press this B button a couple of times. So if I'm lucky and the data is pushed very fast, we should see something popping up in this device. So let me come back to that one later. So how does IoT Central work is you usually start with a device template. And a device template allows you to define what measurements your device is transmitting. You can also you're also allowed to set some of these settings. You can see these settings as a sort of your digital twin of your device. So for example, here, the fan speed of this MX chip is synchronized with my IoT Central application through these settings. You can also define some properties. These are just these are cloud owned. So these are just some configuration values of your device. And then, of course, you can set some commands and other things. So if I now go to my device, so I have, when you create a device template, you have, first of all, you always get a simulated device. This simulated device allows you to, I need to zoom. This simulated device, This simulated device allows you to directly work with the device. It will simulate the values you have provided and allows you to start creating your application without having some real devices connected. So the next thing is, once you have everything configured for your device, you can start creating your own device. I've connected this MX chip is connected with, okay, are you there? Yes. So this MX chip is connected with my IoT Central. For example, if I would change the fan speed settings to 99, you would see that it receives that update, and if all goes well, you would see something moving on that device. It will update the fan speed, and this is synchronized automatically if you have created your device template well. So another thing, as already mentioned, extensibility is super important. So this data export allows you to export all the data that's in IoT Central to your own endpoint of your choice. For example, you can export all your data to Blob, Event Hubs, and Service Bus. So this basically means you can leverage everything from IoT Central. If there's something missing that is not covering your business case, you can create these extensibility points and take it from there. Of course, there's also some other features, like you can customize your application, you can white label it, choose your own colors. What is also fairly new is this one. So what you can do here is create an application, build your own template, and export that template. And then what you can do is you can basically start creating a new application from that template. So this allows you, again, to think more in an enterprise way of using IoT Central. So it's interesting how fast this product is moving. So it's, to my opinion, it's definitely one to watch. So that's it. More rabbits. So let's talk about, we had the software as a service offering. So let's talk a bit on the PaaS services, how to build your own IoT solution, what to take into account, and what go-to services you definitely need to think about. So there's a couple of important things to think about before implementing an IoT platform. So basically, key features that your IoT platform will need, or that you will need to build, or need to do before you can say that you're having an IoT platform. So first of all, you need to think about connectivity and device management. So how will you manage your devices? How will you manage the entire life cycle of your devices? How will you connect devices to your IoT solutions? It's very simple to connect greenfield devices that can talk to the internet, so you can connect them directly to IoT Hub. But what with devices that talk some kind of weird protocol, or devices that simply aren't allowed to connect to the internet? So how will you tackle that? So you need flexible and multi-tenant logic. So an IoT platform or a cloud solution in general is constantly moving and evolving. So you need to be able to, your business logic needs to be able to be, to quickly deploy, to change, to be flexible, and to make sure that you're iterating fast in your platform. You want to have cross-tenant insights. So IoT, if you remember the general slide of Microsoft, it's your things, your insights, and your actions, something like that. So it's important to create those insights when you do an IoT project. So, And if you have a multi-tenant solution, you also, as a builder of the platform, you want to have those insights across all your tenants. And then, of course, you need integration and flexibility. You need to interact with other software that your company is having or that the customer is having. You need to talk with other platforms. You need to talk with the ERP and so on. So, and there's a whole range of services available on Azure to support these things for you. Unfortunately, there's no time to go through them all. But I will talk about a couple of the most important services when regarding to IoT. So I will talk about IoT Hub and device provisioning service, and a service that I really like a lot is time series insights. So IoT Hub, as already said, it's your main entry point to the cloud, together with IoT Edge, of course. It has support for millions of devices. You can send commands, you can do device management, you can do message routing, and so on and so on. It also has quite some security features that allow you to make sure that the connectivity of your devices to the cloud are done in a secure way. So there's a couple of, I'm mentioning here IoT Hub scenarios, but this is more like IoT scenarios in general, how you can leverage IoT Hub to go from your devices towards your end solution. The first one is super easy. You have your device is able to talk AMQP, MQT, MQTT, or HTTPS, then you're good to go, and you can connect directly to IoT Hub. This is the most easiest case, so this is super cool. Next one is when your devices are not able to connect directly to IoT Hub, you can consider using a field gateway. A field gateway is a device or something deployed in the field close to the devices that will be responsible for connecting devices. It will take in the data, forward it to IoT Hub. So the thing there is you want to think about, inside IoT Hub, what identity will you talk to or do you want to see? Do you want to see your end devices or only your field gateway? If I'm not mistaken, Martin will also talk a bit on that later. No, tomorrow. Sorry. No pressure. Next one is when you have custom protocols and those protocols are able to connect to the internet, you can choose to have your cloud gateway, basically deploying a gateway in the cloud and then making sure that cloud gateway drops everything to IoT Hub. And another, I think this is the most complex setup, is you having a field gateway connecting with your cloud gateway over VPN or express route, where your field gateway is also not able to talk one of those IoT Hub protocols, but is talking OPC, co-op, and so on. Yeah. So, and once you are in the cloud, you can start creating your management apps to manage your devices, start building some business logic on top of that, and basically create your end-to-end scenario. So there are some key features in IoT Hub that are used or that you should consider for enterprise IoT solutions. First of all, there's the message processing, the routing. Of course, you have device management, jobs and queries, and message enrichments. So The last one, the message enrichments, is a feature that has been added recently, which allows you to basically enrich messages as they come in. But I'm having a demo on that later on. So first of all, message processing. So your device will send messages to the cloud. There's inside IoT Hub, there's device to cloud endpoint, which is responsible for taking in all the messages and sending them towards your event processing hot path. The other way around, with client SDKs, you can trigger some logic on the device and basically send feedback from your cloud to your devices, and that is called cloud-to-device endpoints. Message routing is a feature that is very useful to do some as it said, routing on the messages before doing any business implementation. So how that works is you can create custom endpoints in IoT Hub, event hubs, service bus, storage. So you can create those custom endpoints and then create a set of rules, a set of queries that will query over your data as it comes in, and basically dispatches it to the correct endpoint. One downside of this is if you want to query on the body, your body needs to be in JSON, which is somewhat painful if you're not sending any JSON. What would be nice as an addition of IoT Hub is a sort of decoding step before this routing actually happens, so that you can decode part of that body, then let it route, and then you can do it. So that would be one of a nice add-on onto IoT Hub. So message enrichment works a bit similar. But what it does is, when a message comes in, it allows you to add certain things to that message to enrich that message with data that you want. For example, in my case, in my demo, I have 2 MX chips that are sending temperature and humidity, but they are not able to transmit their own device ID. They don't have any device ID. So what I did in IoT Hub, or what I will do later during the demo, is I will enrich data coming from these MX chips with things that I configured to be able to distinguish the messages coming from the 2 devices. Of course, there's device management, which gives you a device twin, which you can synchronize your properties, your tags. This is mainly for making sure that settings of the device are in sync. You can give your device tags, so you can group them. For example, if you have different sites, you can group them accordingly. Then what you can do also is you can invoke direct methods onto your device, so which basically means you're exposing a method onto your device, making sure that IoT Hub can call in directly into that method and, for example, allows you to reboot that device or, let us say, install new firmware or something like that. So jobs and queries allows you to query over your IoT Hub devices. This is for reporting, for business logic, for mass updating, and so on. Jobs is similar, so you can schedule device twin changes and so on. So the device provisioning service, it allows you to plug and play provisioning. How it works is that you upload a set of devices or configurations to the device provisioning service. You configure that device provisioning service with a set of IoT hubs. And based on certain rules and logics that you define, there's some built-in rules and logics, but there's also the possibility that you create your own function so that you are in full control of that, that assignment process. Based on that rules and that logic, DPS will basically tell to your device, go and connect to that IoT hub. So this gives a lot of flexibility when your IoT solution is deployed basically across the globe. So as already said, it has support for all devices. Again, support is being worked on for edge devices. It's already there, but it's still a bit tricky sometimes. So what is new here is it allows, currently the new update of this allows you to define a certain set of data that will be added to your device when it's being provisioned. So time series insights is your time series data source, which is built for IoT. You can query your data. It has warm storage built in. So what it does is when you ingest data in it, it basically stores it into its warm storage, and it allows you to have sub-second queries of your recent data. It also has cold storage. What it does, it basically offloads the data to more colder storage, so you can query also that data, but it will take you some more time. And you could even bring your own data if you want it to be queried in this data store. I will show you the different feeling of having that sub-second query and that multi-second query, difference of warm and cold storage. The thing is with time series insights, it's a PaaS solution. So you can go to the time series insight portal, start building your queries. But what you also can do is query directly the API. There's also JavaScript libraries available, which you just can extract the dashboards and bring them into your own solution. So for example, if you're building this for a customer so that you don't have to give access to the customer to time series insights, you can basically extract some of these dashboards and basically embed them in your own solution. So let's go through some demos. Let me see if this thing will still work. Oh, no. Demos first. So first of all, I'm going to guide you a bit around IoT Hub. So let me first take this one. So IoT Hub, what I did is I created an IoT hub with 2 devices, 2 MX chips that are connected over here. If all goes well, you should see some of the metrics. So the devices are actually still transmitting, I hope. No. So the devices are transmitting messages. Let me just plug this one out and plug it back in. Let's hope this one will work. So you can see the metrics over here. So, as already mentioned during the start, there was a problem with these MX chips that they only sent temperature and humidity. What I did, I've added a tag on both of the devices, specifying, okay, this device ID is now my MX chip 001. What I will do is I will leverage the message enrichment, the new feature of IoT Hub, and inject this device ID into the message, so I'm able to route this message further down to my IoT solution. So let me just clear this, clear output. So let me stop monitoring. So Visual Studio Code has some very neat plugins for IoT Hub, basically allowing to monitor your incoming messages, to send commands to the device, and so on. So if I'm now start monitoring this, there should be some message coming in, but I'm seeing here that that's not working anymore. So let's go to the backup plan, which is also very nice to show. So this is, if you're not aware, there's an MX chip IoT simulator for speakers who are doing some talks with the MX chip, and the MX chip is dying. They can go to this website and demonstrate the workings of the MX chip. So if all goes well, and I start running this now, I should see some messages coming in. Now, yes. As you can see, that actually is, that simulator is sending device IDs, but I will make something out of it. So you have your temperature, humidity, and everything else that is transmitting over there. So let me stop this. Let's go to the message routing, and that message routing allows me to, first of all, if you remember, you can define custom endpoints there and your routes, but what I'm interested in this demo is the message enrichment. So this message enrichment allows you to enrich messages as they come in into your IoT Hub. Small downside here, this is configured on IoT Hub level, so there's no fine-grained enrichment possible on a device. So let me open this cheat thingy. So what I will do is I will inject the device ID from the tags with this value, and I will inject it as the message come in. I will just call it Igloo device ID for now. What you also can do, and of course you need to select your endpoint. What you also can do is do some fixed values, insertion, and so on. So if I click apply, I always forget to select the endpoint. So I can apply this one here. So this message enrichment is now being applied. And if all goes well, let me clear the output again. It's saving, yes. And if I start that simulator again, if I click run, you should see something popping in regarding these message enrichment that I've done. Is it? Yes, it's over there. So the Igloo device ID has been added, and the hello world is also there, and this is done with the message enrichments. Let me quickly show, because I'm running out of time. So quickly show you Security Center for IoT. Sorry for rushing this a bit. So this can be enabled onto your IoT Hub, and it will give you some recommendations regarding your devices. Unfortunately, my devices did not receive any attacks during the setup. So, but if your devices would be attacked or there's something wrong with your devices, these things would starting to pop up. So let's quickly go to time series insights. So before going to time series insights, what I did is I'm using an API So let me take it back. So what I did is I configured this demo, I think, end of November, beginning of December. And what I did was I've set up an ingestion of data that will query the weather data of Brussels and the weather data of Helsinki and insert into time series insights. So I was hoping to get something out of it, but let's see what it gives. So what I'm using is, I briefly want to mention that, it's the Dark Sky API. It sounds, ooh, but it's an open source API which allows you to query all the weather data you want. And I believe you have 1,000 calls for free a day. So that's really nice. So I've been using this API since November and basically paid nothing. Thank you, Dark Sky. So how this one works is very simple. You need to give the coordinates, and then you basically get all the data back. So you get the current temperature, you get the minute version. You can even, if there are alerts in your neighborhood, for example, if it would snow in Helsinki, apparently it doesn't snow anymore. So you would see this over here. I think I can show you it if I go down. So you have minutely, hourly combinations. So it's huge, actually. So here you get the alerts. So it's a really cool API to use. So I would say if you want some real-time data to play around with, this one is definitely one to watch. So what I simply did, and Rick will kill me for this setup probably. Having a recurrence. I'm also very good at naming conventions. So I'm doing recurrence, doing 2 HTTP calls to the API and just sending them to event hubs. Sorry, Rick. You will tell everything what's wrong about this tomorrow, right? No? Okay. So it's ingesting the weather data. So let's go to the time series insights environment. Faster. So first of all, when creating or using time series insights, you can define hierarchies. What I did here was define my cities of Brussels. And then as you can see data coming in, you will be able to assign data streams that are entering in time series insights to the correct instance of your hierarchy. So that's based, in my case, I'm defining this hierarchy automatically based on the name of the city that's inside the message. So he's building that hierarchy himself. So if we now go through the dashboard, so let me go back to starting of December, not taking in the first 15 minutes because I did something wrong over there. So I'm now going to show you the temperature and the apparent temperature for both Helsinki and Brussels. Let's make this a bit prettier. So this is all the weather data since beginning of December. I've tried getting something useful out of it. The only thing I noticed is that if you add some markers to this data, is that the apparent temperature, so the temperature that you're feeling in Helsinki, is always much lower than the feeling you have in Brussels. So apparently it's always cold here, but it's actually not, or something like that. Yeah, that's it. You think it's cold, but actually it's not. So what you can do here is you can also explore your raw events. So, and these raw events are what, as the wording says, your raw events that are coming in time series insights. So these will load the most recent values from your hot storage, but if you want, you can load more, and this one will now go to your cold storage and load every event that has passed since beginning of December and load it into the event store. So as you can see, this is a bit longer than it used to be. So you can download all this data as CSV file, you can export these to Power BI, and so on. So let me quickly jump to the slides, because I only have 5 minutes left. So, briefly mentioning the Azure IoT reference architecture, you can find this on this URL. It's the reference architecture of Microsoft that is basically having a guide on how to build cloud-native IoT solutions. So edge and device support. So having edge or cloud capabilities on your edge is really key when it comes to real-life or production-grade IoT scenarios. I haven't really come across an IoT solution that didn't need any of the edge capabilities that Microsoft is offering. But Martin will cover for me on this, because I'm running out of time. So briefly talking IoT pattern, what edge does is basically taking those insights and actions back to your device and doing that local processing and insights and actions for you. So more on this tomorrow. Be sure to watch this guy giving an awesome talk. Yeah, I always wanted, it's that Martin, not the other one. So the road ahead will all be about having that IoT solution interacting with your people, your places and devices. So the focus will no longer be on these things, but will more be about the people and the experience that people are getting from your IoT solution. And that's why I briefly wanted to mention Azure Digital Twins, that is currently still in preview, which is leveraging everything regarding Azure IoT, and will make sure that you will be able to it's my cue to stop talking, probably. It will allow you to model all the experiences, the relationship between your devices, your space, and your people. So as already mentioned during the start, as a recap, there is no wrong or right when choosing for software as a service or implementing the IoT solution on your own. The thing is, the most important thing there is you want to make sure that you're doing it as you want, you're covering your business case, and be aware, if you're using software as a service, you gave away a bit of your control, but when you're implementing it in the past, you have full control of your own, but the downside of that is that you are responsible for all the side things like scaling and so on and so on. With that said, thank you for listening. I see that guy is already smiling. I'm perfectly on time. So if there are no any questions, I would like to thank you. Come and find me if you do have questions. So thank you for listening.